Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zach Lee. Welcome back to the Zach Lee Show, where we talk about everything that went on in the NBA from the previous day. As always, you guys are the real MVPs. You're coming back each and every single day. But now, let's just get into everything that did go down yesterday. But first, I have to tell you guys a little bit about this video sponsor, athleticcases.com. You can now rock your favorite player on the back of your phone. Basketball, baseball, football, or even soccer, no matter what the sport. Use the promo code ZachLee for 10% off any order. Check the link in the description to learn more. Now with that out the way though, on to the video, let's go. Real rivalries in the NBA, I think they're starting to become a thing again, especially with some of these younger teams, especially between the LA Lakers and the Denver Nuggets. They faced off for the second time this year, and for the second time this year, it was the Nuggets who were able to get the 125-116 win. It was also for the second time this year that there was some drama surrounding the Lakers players and Jamal Murray. You guys remember what happened back in December when these two teams first played each other, when Murray dribbled the ball around Lonzo Ball in the final seconds of the game, and I believe it was Julius Randle and a couple of other guys who took offense to that. Well, yeah, that carried over to this game as well. There was some extra chirping between Jamal Murray and some of the players on the Lakers. He and Isaiah Thomas got into it a bit at the free throw line, and then he almost had IT follow Murray all the way back to the Denver bench afterwards. KCP delivered a hard foul to Murray in the fourth quarter, and Luke Walton was ready to square up with Murray after Murray said something after ending the game with a steal. And let me clear up that part real quick, because I've seen some people saying that it was wrong or disrespectful of Murray to steal the ball in the final seconds like he did, because the game was already over at that point. Look, we may have known the game was already over. We knew that there was no realistic chance the Lakers would come back and win that game. So the game was over to us, but the Lakers were still trying to score. They were still playing, so I don't see anything wrong with Jamal Murray stealing the ball just to make sure the game was over. You know, Luke Walton wasn't even mad about that. He was upset about the trash talk that Murray was doing after the steal. As after the game, Luke Walton said that Jamal Murray always disrespects the Lakers towards the end of games.
I felt like for the second time we played here, Murray's been a little disrespectful at the end of the game. Just some trash talking towards our guys.
Is that going on throughout the game?
I don't know. I noticed it late.
So Luke Walton called Jamal Murray disrespectful. He feels some type of way about what Jamal Murray was doing. Whereas Lonzo, on the other hand, said multiple times after the game that ain't nobody worried about Jamal Murray.
What, from your perspective, happened with Jamal Murray at the end of the game?
I don't know. I don't really worry about Jamal Murray.
Jamal was being disrespectful. Was that toward you or toward something?
Like I said, ain't nobody worried about him.
Also going on to say that Jamal Murray dribbling around him in the last game was a punk move.
I remembered it. It's a punk move, but like I said, we're not gonna get into it. Just do whatever we need to do.
Did you feel like there was more in that vein tonight?
I don't know. Like I said, he's gonna do certain stuff I'm not really feeding into it.
Whereas Jamal Murray, the defendant in this case, said he was just trying to play with some fire and he can't control how the Lakers are going to feel. I went out there and I played with the fire that everybody loves to watch me play with, and I can't control what the other team's going to feel. I'm gonna go out there and hoop. So now that you have heard all the angles around this, you either feel one of two ways. Either you're a Lakers fan or a Denver fan. If you're a Nuggets fan, then you're upset with Luke Walton and Lonzo Ball for some of the things they said about Jamal Murray. Whereas if you're a Lakers fan, you're like, well, who is Jamal Murray in the first place? Personally though, as not being a fan of either of these teams, I don't have a problem with what Jamal Murray has been doing. Just like I don't have a problem with what Joel Embiid does every time he plays against my Pistons. Yes, I get defensive when another player from other team trash talks someone on the Pistons, but at the end of the day, that's the type of stuff that I love about the NBA. That's something that gets me even more excited about it. Lakers fans, I know because of the history that Murray now has with you guys, that you guys are now looking forward to Tuesday's game against the Denver Nuggets even more. Why? Because it'll give you guys a chance to get back at Denver. If you feel some type of way about the things that Murray was doing or saying yesterday, then you can't wait to see the Lakers beat Jamal Murray and the Denver Nuggets, so you guys can start talking some trash of your own. The disrespectfulness of Jamal Murray adds another layer of excitement to the game. I wish there were more players in the NBA that had that type of mindset. That's the type of mindset, that's the edge that creates these rivalries. While it's okay for players to be disrespectful to other players on the court to an extent, the same can't be said for fans who sit within earshot of some of these players. Now, I'm sure fans sitting courtside at games can get away with a certain amount of trash talk, but once you cross the line and get the attention of a player, well, things aren't gonna turn out so good for you. As one fan had to learn that the hard way as he was ejected for heckling KD in last night's Warriors vs Blazers game.
To a 3-game absence because of the knee. He's hit a couple of threes. Aminu with a bucket tonight. And I'm not sure what's going on over there, Lamar. We have an unruly fan, possibly. We got a big usher coming over there. I'll tell you that, to handle business.
Oh, that's Sean. And when Sean walks into the scene, he means business.
KD blew a kiss to the man and threw up the deuces, threw up the peace sign. Just what a waste of some good courtside seats though. How are you gonna spend all that money to sit courtside, have the best seats in the house, only to get ejected? Like, come on. Despite all the antics and drama surrounding the Thunder vs Nuggets game, one of the more anticipated games of the night was the Houston Rockets versus the Toronto Raptors, the best from the West and the best from the East going at it. And it was the Raptors who were able to come away with the win, keeping their win streak alive while snapping Houston's at 17. And this win kind of opened the eyes of a lot of people who are now saying, you know what, hey, this Toronto Raptors team might be a little better than we were giving them credit for. They might be legit. They could actually be the team that comes out of the East and makes it to the finals this year. I mean, you got people like Charles Barkley now coming out and picking Toronto to come out of the East. Articles being published on NBA.com saying this year could be very different for Toronto. People are starting to wake up. However, then you have other people saying it's just one game. They beat the Rockets once during the regular season. This means nothing. However, first off, this was actually the second time that the Toronto Raptors beat the Houston Rockets during the regular season. The first time it happened all the way back in November when they won 129-113. And even if you don't just look at the record against Houston, you look at the games they played against Golden State. Sure, the Toronto Raptors lost both of those games, but both those games were very intense. The Toronto Raptors fought the Golden State Warriors just about as hard as any other team the NBA will be able to. Those games had a playoff type of vibe to them. Everyone talks about how well the Boston Celtics matched up against the Golden State Warriors and their 2 games against them this year. Well, the Toronto Raptors have matched up just as good as the Boston Celtics have. To me, Toronto had already proven that they are not the same team that they were in last year or in previous years. They have matured and gotten better. Now, that being said, they do still have to prove that they can not only keep playing as well as they have been in the regular season, but also take it up to that next level in the playoffs. However, I said it a couple of times that I don't think that should be too much of a concern for them this year, because the bottom line is this isn't the same Toronto Raptors team that we have seen in previous years. There's a better system, better bench, better ball movement, better team all around. The East this year isn't gonna be a cakewalk for LeBron James. That wraps up all the news and I guess just bigger overall stories from last night though. Now let's take a quick look at the rest of the games from last night. I don't want what I'm about to say sound like I am discrediting the Blazers for beating the Warriors last night, because I'm not. With or without Curry, the Warriors are still an extremely hard team to beat. But like I said yesterday, they are much more human without Curry than they are with him, which is why the recurring ankle problems that Steph Curry has been having this year is starting to be a concern if you are a Golden State Warriors fan. It's tough to go from Stephen Curry to Quinn Cook as their starting point guard. Like, that is probably as drastic of a drop off in the NBA as you can get. 125 to 108 the final score. The Blazers beating the Warriors for the second time this year despite KD dropping 40. And this Blazers team, man, if they can ever just get that third guy somehow, either a dominant big man or an all-star level wing player, like, that's all they need. They have now won 9 straight games and are starting to solidify themselves as the 3rd best team out west. Lillard and McCollum were both great last night, combining for 58 points. The Clippers got the jump on the Cavs early and Cleveland never really recovered from there. And this is the part we all feared when Cleveland traded for Rodney Hood, by the way, too. Can the guy stay healthy? Well, it appears the answer to that question is no, as he had to leave the game in the first quarter and did not return with a back strain. 116 to 102 the final score. DeAndre Jordan has been on a little bit of a tear as of late. Maybe it just setting for him that this is a contract year and he needs to show out if he wants to get paid that top dollar. He had another 20-20 game, 20 points and 23 rebounds on the night, while for the Cavs, I'm fairly sure it's safe to say that despite the fact they lost last night, even when Tristan Thompson returns, that Larry Nance Jr. will be their starting center from here on out because he has been better in these past 3 games as a starter than Thompson has been all year long. He had 16 points and 12 rebounds on the night for the Cavs. Yep, with Anthony Davis out with a sprained ankle, you knew before this game started that the Pelicans' 10-game win streak would end here. Didn't stand a chance, and that was evident early as the Wizards torched New Orleans 116-97. The much improved Otto Porter Jr. led the way for Washington with 19 points. The Bucks weren't taking this game seriously from the jump. When you have Giannis Antetokounmpo hiking the ball to Eric Bledsoe and then Eric Bledsoe doing a push-up before the game even, look, the Bucks weren't taking this game seriously at all, even though they did have a little bit of a scare as they needed to start taking it seriously in the fourth quarter if they were going to get this win. And the Bucks did take over in the fourth quarter to make sure they didn't lose this game to the Knicks. More specifically, Giannis took over in the fourth quarter to make sure the Bucks didn't lose to the Knicks, as he scored 13 of his 28 points in the final period, 120-112 the final score. Giannis also had 10 rebounds and 5 assists to go along with his 28 points, while Chris Middleton chipped in 30 on the night. New York, on the other hand, has now lost 14 of their 15 last games, so maybe that has something to do with why the Bucks were taking this too seriously. Just keep winning. That's what the Jazz have to be saying to themselves right now. With all the winning that they have been doing, if they keep it up, then they will, or at least should, very well should, and make the playoffs this year. They beat the Grizzlies last night, which has to be one of the best teams you can play if you want a quick win. All you gotta do is show up and the game is yours. You might not even have to be conscious, just be there and the victory is yours. Matter of fact, you don't even have to be there the entire time if you don't want to. 5 to 10 minutes, just show up 5 to 10 minutes unconscious in a bed, that's all it takes and you will get the win. 95-78 the final score. Jae Crowder once again proving that for some players it just takes being in the right type of system for them to thrive, as he dropped 22 points off the bench for the Jazz. Remember what I said about the Grizzlies? All you gotta do is show up to beat them. Ditto for the Hawks. Then again, the Pacers did lose to the Hawks last week, but that's all good because they made up for it big time as they blew Atlanta to smithereens 112-87. There isn't anything left to say about this one. Oladipo was 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. I'm happy that my Pistons won yesterday, but just watching the game towards the end, it seemed like the Bulls were trying extra hard to lose, even though they were already losing. I mean, turnover after turnover, shots weren't even coming close to going in. Like, if you were trying to miss, it will look something like they were doing. It was some of the uglier basketball that I have ever seen. And the result was Detroit coming away with a 99-83 win behind Blake's 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. The Orlando Magic versus the Sacramento Kings. Let me break the fourth wall for a bit here. I sat at my desk thinking of what to say about this waste of a game way longer than I should have, but in the end, I only got mad at myself for wasting so much time thinking about this waste of a game. Kings won, that's all you need to know, and yeah, that's all it's going to be said. That wraps up all the action from last night though. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to smack that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more daily NBA videos. Remember to vote for the player of the day, but also remember the only players whose team won are eligible to win player of the day. And yesterday, that player was Kevin Durant, and his 32 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Thank you once again for watching the video. I'll see all of you right back here tomorrow, but until then, I am out of here.